Historic preservation is a way of life. It is a way of ethics. It's a way of morality.
Nothing scares my mom. It's as though she knows something that we don't know. Like she knows already that it's going to be okay.
And you see it in her eyes, and you see that strength of character that she has, and wherever we are, whatever it's about, she cares, and you can just feel it.
If we cherish the beauty of our past and preserve the beauty of our past, we're preserving the beauty and the history for the future.
For us to make change in the world, and many times it doesn't take the institutions, it doesn't take big government, sometimes it takes a few people that will do the right thing for the many, and Beadie was the navigator.
For her lifelong work to support and preserve Hawaiian culture and communities, the Historic Hawaii Foundation is proud to honor Beadie Kanahele Dawson as the 2019 āina of the Year.
She spent her entire life giving back to the community, and I think that was just something that she was born to do.
My mother was very active in the community, as was my dad, but they were all about family, and they guided me in my thinking, helped to introduce me to the concept of pono, which is doing the right thing.
My grandmother, Annie Sam Kanahele, was really into community and reaching out to those who were less fortunate.
She was a teacher, an educator, and a principal, and she was open to everyone. No matter who they were, what their station in life was, they came to Annie for help. And so I had a role model in front of me from day one. Community service, it was like breathing. It wasn't unusual. It was just something that we did.
Beadie was so strongly committed, even as a young woman, to seeing that Hawaiian culture was preserved. When it was announced that there was going to be a new state capitol built, there really was no plan for Iolani Palace once it was vacated by the legislature and the governor. And Beadie was one of the first people that recognized that something needed to be done and needed to be done quickly.
Iolani Palace was being used as a legislative building. It was the seat of the territorial government, and unfortunately they did not treat it as a royal palace. The building itself gradually fell into terrible disrepair. The palace was ugly. It was actually ugly, with all of these appendages sticking out of the balconies on the sides. Inside, they had cut up the rugs in the rooms and so forth. All of the royal belongings had been removed.
We were both members of the Project Finding Committee of the Junior League, and Beadie suggested that we find a way of galvanizing the community into realizing that this historic structure needed to be preserved.
The royal palace and the royal history that we have right now serves as a wonderful part of educating the world, educating our own community into what we once were and what we are today.
There's a famous scripture that says, "To whom much is given, much is required." And that was what my mom instilled in us. That was what was instilled in her.
I was a journalist, I was a public relations expert, I was a Christian worker at the prisons. I had so many things that I was doing. Amongst them all, I worked with the Attorney General's office. I worked with countless numbers of attorneys. I admired them for their ability to make things happen. And that's what I decided I wanted to do. I didn't want to talk about doing things. I didn't want to write about them. I wanted to do them.
I could only imagine, you know, my mom is pushing 50 and she's going to go back into graduate school, and what's that going to look like, and how hard is that going to be?
I immediately picked up on her serenity, her heart, and the way that she treated people, and I really wanted her as a part of my study group. You know, she had the life experience and the wisdom. In law school, you have to discuss cases with the teacher and the other students and stuff. Well, what Beadie brought to that process was that she'd always put the personal aspects of what was going on in a case to the forefront. She always spoke about, you know, what emotionally, physically, mentally would happen with the parties, and she would put the case in a perspective of, these are people.
Getting my law degree was the culmination of years of seeing so much need and so much disaster going on in our community, and realizing that my colleagues, we could change this.
One of the things that I was really, really impressed with is the fact that she took on the Bishop Estate case.
This magnificent trust, which was operating the Kamehameha schools, had been taken over slowly by politicians who were manipulating things not for the benefit of the school, but for their aggrandizement.
Kamehameha Schools was not what it is today back in the 1990s. It was a different place. Still a lot of the proud traditions, still a lot of the wonderful services being provided, but in some ways decisions of leadership were out of step with the faculty, with alumni, with the larger community. Beadie wouldn't step aside and just see that misalignment exist. And the first thing she did, and the most profound thing she did, was try and provide voice to those who are afraid to express themselves.
We decided to look at an issue that has been causing a great deal of fireworks in the local community, not only getting coverage on the TV, on the media, but also now action in the circuit court.
When the alums had first asked me to come and give them some legal guidance, my first legal guidance was stay out of the courts. It's not the Hawaiian way. We need to sit down with the trustees and talk with them. That didn't happen.
The belief was these trustees are so powerful and they're so well connected to everything that they're not removable. No one really believed that there was a way to really make change. What Beadie brought to the community was the belief that she believed it could be, and that she was willing to stand up against the odds, against the many, against the powerful.
I did not have a law firm. I did not have a staff of paralegals. I did not have a legal secretary. I'd left all of that behind.
It was daunting, it was scary, it was completely David and Goliath kind of a situation, but because it was the right thing to do, my mom was incredibly committed.
It's much more than a legal decision. This is about the heart of your whole community and the Hawaiian community, and so much was at stake. Because Kamehameha, there's no place like it today. Its legacy, its connection to families and communities and children. But today could be very different. It could be a very different school if Beadie wasn't there.
If there is opportunity, she's just going to continue on finding things that she can do to help her community.
What I do want you to get caught up on is the concepts of Ho'oponopono. And I felt this was the easiest way to help you to understand how Ho'oponopono works. When there are problems to resolve, one looks only to oneself. What have you done to make this problem better? What have you done to make it worse? Ho'oponopono means to make things right again.
She became one of the leaders in this area and has for many, many years, been involved in training lawyers and others in this process.
Today, it is a gift of the Hawaiian culture to the world. More people who know about Ho'oponopono, more people who know about self-introspection, more people who know about bringing parties together and looking for within the parties themselves is the way to find peace throughout the world.